What's going on, chat? How we doing, bro? How we doing? Dude, it's getting crazy. We got the new season in like literally a day and 12 hours, I think, something like that. About 30 hours until the new season. Things are getting hyped. We got a lot of leaks. And speaking of new update, we actually got a massive new update on Infinite BOXFIGHTS FFA. If you guys want to check it out, map code's on screen: 4981-4426-6816. This is my pro practice map in Fortnite. We got some new crosshairs. Look at this. HaloBT crosshair. Actually, let me get my crosshair X out of here so you can see it better. So we got a HaloBT logo crosshair. We got full box 200 as a new crosshair, which you guys have been asking about quite a bit. The pump, the striker, all of that now does 200 damage instead of 180, or actually it still does 185, but it one pumps now. We lowered the health to 185, so you can now hit one pump. So we nerfed the gatekeeper, so now it's gray. We added a little button over here for the nuke in case you get trapped in there. It's kind of funny. We fixed the bug so people can't buy the nuke early. We got a ton of new items over here, like legendary heavy shotgun, twin mag SMG. We got slap juice, some new stuff. It's pretty lit. And then we also updated the elimination streaks. So now you can get up to a 20 elimination streak, which will automatically grant you a nuke. So if you can unlock it, I think you need 12 kills in a row to start the streak. It's called a super elimination streak, which is built on top of the original one. And if you get the super elimination streak, you can keep going all the way up to 20. Then you can drop a nuke. We also got some zero delay updates out on the map. So now your builds feel like butter, dude. Like, look at this. It feels like butter. It's great. We did a ton of zero delay changes. So now you'll be getting more FPS, better edits, all that good stuff on the map, which is absolutely amazing. So definitely hop on, check it out. But we're going to play some ranked real quick. We're going to do some reload, and then we'll probably do some scrims with Sicko later today. I don't know. But yeah, lots going on, chat. A lot is going on. Dude, we got 700 people on the map already, dude. That's amazing. Let's go. Gotta get that to 1,000, boys. W update, yes, sir. We did a ton of other stuff, though. Hold on, let me get the list out. It was a pretty big update, but I'm forgetting most of it. Okay, hold on. All right, here we go. 185 HP instead of 190. Gray gatekeeper, zero delay, a 2-minute build reset timer instead of 3 minutes. So we lowered the amount of time it takes for the builds to reset. All purple pumps were deleted to help with input delay. We added the twin mag SMG. 20 kills equals a nuke, so we added the super elimination streaks. We removed the combat shotgun because no one ever used it. We added a debug to the nuke area itself, so people can't just get the nuke early. And then we also made it so if you get stuck in there, you can get out. Slap juice and a couple of other heal items, legendary heavy shotgun, HaloBT crosshair, full box crosshair. We made the box itself, I think about 20 tiles bigger, but 2 tiles longer. So now the box itself is a little bit bigger, so you won't get third party as often. And then we did like a bunch of like small zero delay stuff to make it feel more buttery. But yeah, good amount of updates, dude. Good amount of updates. I think that's pretty much most of it. There's some other stuff, I think. You're gonna do a 30-hour stream for the new season? No. Zero chance, dude. Zero chance. I definitely want to do like a super long stream once the new season starts. But yeah, for now, I don't think I'm going to do any super long streams. Unless we hit, like, I don't know, 2K players on Infinite BOXFIGHTS, and then, sure, I'm down. But otherwise, I got a lot going on. I got to get ready for the new season, you know. Halo Nightbot, what's going on? Wait, is Nightbot bugging? Wait, what the heck? Why is Nightbot... Huh? Nightbot's just timing out everybody. What? Chat, wait. I gotta ban Nightbot, dude. What? Dude, Nightbot just banned half the chat. Not like banned, timed him out for like 5 minutes. Bro, what? Why is Nightbot bugging? Hello? Yo, chat, why is Nightbot going on a kill streak, dude? He heard about the new update of Infinite Box Fights and was like, yo. Also, I can't get into a match in ranked, so we're just gonna play some reload until ranked kids get online. And yo, really with the resub, 11 months, my guy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, bro. Thank you. Let's go. Let's get some member hype on the chat. W11 months, dude. I can't wait for next month. That's gonna be sick. W1 year coming up, coming up. But yeah, chat, if you did get timed out by Nightbot and you're just sitting in chat unable to type, I apologize. You're gonna have to wait it out. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just Nightbot was like bugging out and just like kicking everybody for no reason. So, oh, also, can someone remind me? I gotta buy the new stuff in the item shop. I have like no V-Bucks right now. I need to buy this dude and this emote. Kind of a cool emote, I can't lie. It's fun. Dude, can I just not get in a match? The only thing that's queuing right now is Infinite Box Fights. Bro, I can't get in a reload match. I can't get in a ranked match. It's like no one's on the game right now. What's up, Halo? What's up, Splashy? How you doing, dude? Can you read my chat message? I can, bro. I can. I got the emote from the tournament. Nice, bro. Got it for free. That's dubs. Nah. That's awesome. Yeah, I hope they do more tournaments that are like free skins, free emotes, stuff like that. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but last chapter 2 season 4, so I guess a couple chapters ago, last Marvel season, we had a ton of skin cups. I won every single one that I played. It was really fun. You had to place like top 200 and I placed top 150 pretty much in every single tournament. It was actually pretty funny. I think I got like top 40 in one of them, which was a really good placement. And then oh, my teammate left. No, why? They'll be minis though. Nah, but the skin cups were lit. I won all of them and I got a bunch of free skins, so I really hope they do the same thing this season 4, because that'd be nice, you know, save a lot of V-Bucks with that. How are you, Halo? I'm doing awesome. How are you, Solo? I do like how Fortnite has a lot of like free skins and all that good stuff, you know. A lot of other games don't do that. Like, you could probably, if you never purchased V-Bucks, I think you could have up to 100 skins now. If you started in like early chapter 1, never once purchased V-Bucks, just off the battle pass and like various skin cups and whatever. If you were a good player, yeah, you could probably get about 100 free skins. Wasn't there a door there? Huh? Ah, I'm dead. Well, this is fun. Chat, wasn't there a door over there, or am I tripping, bro? I swear there was a door right there. They got rid of that? Either I'm losing my mind or they got rid of a random door there. I remember there being a door on that side. Alright, sick. Alright, we're pretty much just playing solo duo reload right now, which is kind of rough. Because I did not warm up enough on Infinite Box Fights, so I probably should have played a bit more, but, you know, we're gonna send it. My hands still feel like giant ice cubes. Not the best looks. Oh gosh. Yo, input delay go crazy, bro. Oh! He's just right in my box. Alright, goodbye, sir. Goodbye. Don't W-key me. I need a dip. Oh, I almost just died of fall damage. Yep, all part of the plan. I'm a professional, actually. That was all part of the plan, just to freak you guys out, you know. I'm a professional. That was, all calculated. All of it was calculated from the very beginning. Yeah, let me just buy this. I'm way too impatient to use bandages in this game, bro. I got TikTok brain. Like, I can't I can't be sitting here an hour. Oh, purple tack out of a chest. Oh, that's crazy. New season in like 2 days. I know, bro. I'm so hyped. What about you guys? We feeling good for the new season? I'm feeling pretty Fortnite-y. I can type again. Let's go. Bro's not timed out anymore. Yeah, sorry about that, chat. Nightbot just went on a rampage, just timing everybody out, dude. I think he was beefing because he just died in a reload match or something. Bro was taking out his anger. Hey, Lo, what are you doing? What do you mean? I'm playing reload, bro. My teammate left me, so I'm by myself. It's kind of sad. Top 10 sass moments. Was it calculated, Halo? It was very calculated. Dude, I still feel really tired. Like, I pretty much just woke up. What about you guys? Like, I know it's 1 p.m. I don't care. I don't care. I pretty much just woke up, so it still feels like it's like 9 in the morning for me. I overslept like crazy today. Gotta use it while I still can type of vibe, you know? I just woke up as well. Bro. That's just how it is, you know? It's the Fortnite schedule, dude. I gotta say. 100%, man. The Fortnite player count will skyrocket next season. Oh, definitely. Definitely. And hopefully Infinite Box Fights player count will skyrocket too. Map code on screen, dude. Let's try to get to 1,000 players, guys. We're really close. 1 p.m. Yeah, it's 1 in the afternoon, dude. Now, like, pretty much just woke up. It feels like it's like 9 or 10 in the morning right now. It's really weird. I got like no sleep last night, so I ended up sleeping in like crazy, bro. To compensate, you know. For whatever reason, our dogs keep seeing ghosts at like 3 in the morning, and they just keep barking, bro. It's like, come on. You're not seeing ghosts. Go to bed. 190. Hold on. 190 again. Oh, that tree. You are very lucky. $26. Alright, I might just drop the attack, bro. That damage already got me annoyed. 26 is crazy. I don't think having a full purple inventory is worth it. It's just not. Halo, you've been my inspiration for the longest time. You encouraged me to start YouTube. Love your content. Thank you, dude. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, wait. I got a gold scar out of that? Oh. Dude, I'm so glad I looked back at that. I just looted the chest while reading the chat. I didn't even see it. That would have been such a bad day. Imagine I just didn't see that. Just left a gold scar there. Let's get a couple more chests. I want to see if I can get a spaz. That would be a really good day. Spaz? Another scar! Dang! Only Sicko was online, bro. Bro was online. I would have infinite scars for him. We'd be cooking. Thanks for the loot, bro. Ooh. I'm hoping he like shocks. What are these guys doing, bro? They're playing so weird. I don't know how to fight this. I keep hitting body shots with the mammoth. It's getting kind of annoying. Oh my gosh. Are you serious? 26, 26, and 50? Brother. Brother. Get this garbage out of my inventory. No. What is that damage, bro? If I died there, I would have actually got off. That would have been the world's fastest HaloBT live stream. I'm not even capping. That would have been it. And will you do Granny again? Pretty soon, guys. I'm trying to lock in for the new season. Because we got the new season really soon. But don't worry. I'm going to do Granny. I'm going to do a Minecraft series. I'm going to do like Phasmophobia, some other FNAF games, and all that good stuff. I'm planning on doing that in like maybe about a week from now. That'll all be on the HaloBT Games YouTube channel, by the way. And Twitch as well. Yo, W third party. Wow, I just got all the loot. I just got literally all of it. That guy's teammate was dead. Free loot, bro. For days. We're kind of cooking. Not bad for solo duo. Your crosshair? Oh, yeah, it is off. Should probably turn that back on. Oh, I got input delay, bro. Get me out of here. I gotta wait for my ping to go down. Alright, give me like 2 minutes, guys. Please. Or just be really annoying. I mean, that's fine too. I bet you don't have 6 shockwaves though. I'm out of here. I'm that one kid in reload now. I found my new calling. Just run away with 6 shocks. Kindly do not shoot me. I hate when players do this, bro. I got more shocks, guys. I'll just keep shocking. I'll just keep going and going and going. No, come on. There we go. It's a sneaky little headshot. That's all I need. Sneaky, sneaky. Give me a toe. Give me a toe. Give me a toe. Toe. Now. 3, 2, 1. Ah, he reset it. Yo, Vapor with the $2. Thank you. Hey, hello. Do you think Sicko is a loot goblin? Yes, he is very much a loot goblin. I can confirm all the way with 1,000,000% accuracy. Bro is a loot goblin. He does it to me every time we play. And he grabs absolutely everything. He is literally a vacuum. Shockwave merchant, yo, pretty much. I gotta turn into that one kid in reload, bro. Like, I'm solo duoing. I'm on high input delay right now. Like, we're not Fortniting. How? Double edit. Bro thought he could run away from me. You taking all my loot, sir? You realize it's illegal in like 20 different continents, right? Where'd my extra loot go? What? Chat, where's the knocked body? Did I not eliminate bro like right over here? Huh? Well, now I got minis for days, so I guess we're good on that regard. Oh, respawn's end. Nice. I'll make 2v1ing easier. I'm dead anyway if I die, so it doesn't really matter for me. Nothing changes. Full piece. I don't know why he would just run right in, but okay. I mean, I appreciate the loot delivery. Thank you, kind sir. These teammates are right in here. Let me reload, actually. $200. Let's go, dude. 7 kills with no duo. This whole match? I'll take it. I just need to get a spaz, bro. I could definitely 2v1 with the spaz. Thor's, trust me. I just gotta keep my loot up, you know? Can't be too greedy. Please, don't W-key me. I'm just a scared little solo. I'm a very, very, very bad player. Don't W-key me. No, no. Okay, why is my stuff not registering? Don't make a wide edit. And it just doesn't register. Oh my gosh. Are you serious? Holy cow. Okay. That's annoying. Alright, let's switch up the combo. Wait, actually, this is kind of drippy with this pickaxe. I think I had a little bit better, though. Maybe this guy. Yeah, that's kind of tough. New season hype? Yes, sir! Can you do scrims? If I do scrims, it'll be pro scrims, guys. It's not customs. Keep that in mind. Pookie Bear Halo. Chat, stop calling me Pookie! Do an emo IRL of your choice. I'll do the wave emote. There you go. That's like the least cringe one. I'm still in the mode where you can't tell what you're actually doing. My brain isn't comprehending fast enough. Please help me. My sleep was terrible last night. Dude, I'm in that like same situation. I feel you on that. I didn't wake up until like literally a couple hours ago, bro. Not even. I'm sleepy, sleepy, sleepy. My best advice is if you can, go back to bed. 10 out of 10 advice. I know. I know. Who would have thought of that? Winnie the Pookie Bear. Why is that like kind of better? Oh my gosh, my teammate's name is I'm the Worst. Are you serious? These are the type of fill teammates I'm getting in reload, brother. I can't win, chat. These are the type of fill teammates I'm getting in reload. Bro's name is like actually like not even like I'm a Fortnite Pro 24. Just I'm the worst. Come on, man. Watch him get 20 kills this game. Yo, watch him get 20 kills. Plot twist of the century. Are you streaming on Twitch? HaloBT on Twitch. Yes, sir. Ah, well, this is a great inventory. I think we're back to another episode of HaloBT cannot get a decent shotgun. Although there's a great pump here. It's semi-decent, actually. I'll take it. I'm just gonna rock gray only. I don't care. I don't care anymore! Oh. Actually, I changed my mind. Green only. Actually changed my mind. Blue only. No! Teammate! Oh, actually, he has 2 kills. Wait, he's actually not that bad. I didn't even realize he got 2 kills. Nice. Sorry, bro. I'm just trying to get like some half-decent loot. Don't mind me. Dude, I can't tell where these guys are. Oh, I'm gonna get 2v1s. Yeah, I don't got mats like that. No thanks. I'll fight one of you guys, just not 2. No. Teammates! Save me! Oh wait, you need saving. Never fear. HaloBT is here. Nah, I need to get minis off, actually. You're by yourself for a second. Hold on. Never fear. HaloBT is here to save the day. Matt! Never fear. All right, we're here. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Hit the gritty? Sure. What are you doing, bro? What's going on? No, teammate! No! Well, bro died. This is going downhill, boys. Oh. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I thought I could like yoink some free mats or something, but yeah, I got like 2 builds, dude. I'm in the trenches. It's not looking good. Chat, is it wraps? Dude. $94 white is insane. Nah, 94 white is actually insane. What is that? Excuse me? Pardon me. Hit him 194, bro. Oh, of course he gets the wall. Where is bro going? He's just living life. Alright, this is such an awkward game. I might just yoink someone else's loot, bro. This is just not good looks. My teammate rage quit. Come on, bro. Is this whole stream just gonna be me playing solo duo reload? Like, come on, man. Do you play Brawl Stars? I've never played Brawl Stars. I know nothing about it. Not a Sigma? No, not at all. I agree with that. He's a fake Sigma, chat. A real Sigma would have stayed and fought it out. Why am I lagging? Why am I lagging? Oh gosh, why am I like glitching around, dude? Hold on, give me a second. Alright. Or Fortnite again, there we go. Dude, can they add these cars back on the map next season? I'm waiting, because like metal this season is so hard to get. And not in reload, obviously. I'm talking about like comp. Like there's just no metal on the map anywhere. And the spots that do have metal, you gotta sit there for literally an hour just mining. It's so annoying. I want fast metal back in the game again. Like creaky compound, bro. Like that kind of metal. Oh my. Full piece. Dude, why doesn't my build place, man? Oh gosh, this is just not Fortnite. It's not looking good. Bro, sniffing your walls? I think so. I just have no mats, dude. Like, if I could just get the loot on my 1 kill, I'm good to go. But, like, I'll either get kids low and they run away, or I can't get the loot for the kill. It's driving me crazy. I need some shockwaves right now. That'd be nice. Free loot, please. Like cat mats just sitting on the floor somewhere. Actually, I could go for that supply drop. I'm gonna try for that. You get away from there! Peace! Thank you, good sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate the kind donation. Now I have mats, chat! Let's go! W builds. Sick. I didn't think he was gonna send it like that. That was a really bad play. I really just didn't think he was gonna do that. $200. Thank you for the loot, good sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, now we have some mats. Here we go. That's a good solo player. Oh, is this a duo? Oh, this is a duo. Kindly stop AR spraying at me. These guys just yoinked my loot, chat. I had a blue pump there. I couldn't pick it up in time. It wouldn't let me pick it up. Oh, dude. They just yoinked my blue pump, bro. Oh, chat, it's over. Now they're just ARing at me for absolutely no apparent reason. And I can't outbuild it. Oh, this is ridiculous, bro. Get me out of here. I literally can't outbuild the AR spam. Like, it doesn't even matter that they're AIs. They're just gonna shoot through my walls. Either leave me alone or leave me alone. I'm giving you two options. Nah, they're just gonna chase me and chase me. You already know they're about to chase me and chase me. If I get to these supply drops, I can get shocks. Guys, you got nothing better to do? Oh, spaz! Oh my gosh. And a chalk jug! Dude! I just need a normal match now, please. Nothing weird. Nothing weird. Just keep everything normal, please. A chug jug and a spaz. Like, this is my life has completed. W loot, bro. I gotta say though, the oceanless bottomless chug thing is kind of useless unless you're playing trios back in chapter 2, because you literally can never pop that, bro. It's almost worth not even picking up. Alright, I'm gonna carry shockwaves and a grappler. I don't know if it's the play, but who's this? I almost want to wait for reboots to go away first before I start keying. It goes away in 25 seconds. I might as well, right? That's the rarest item in the game. No, I thought it was the fish, right? Is it not the fish? I don't know. You can never pop it because it has a minute delay and it takes 15 seconds to pop. Oh, wait, no. This is the AR spraying duo. These guys are annoying. Although I could hop on that, dude. Oh, they might hear my crown. Oh, no. I can take one of them in a fight, but they're just going to spam me to death, bro. Like, I can't outbuild the AR spray. So the second they start duo spraying me, it's like everything just bleeds through and I'm instantly dead. But I can take them one-on-one. I'm winning those. So it's like, bro, come on. The MK7's the rarest, is it? Are you sure? I swear it's the goldfish, guys. Are you sure? I've gotten the MK before. Although I think I have gotten more fish than the MK, to be entirely fair. Oh, it's this dude. 200 full piece. He had a gold spaz. What? Dude, why am I getting the best luck in the game after my teammate rage quits on me? Dude, like if I had Sicko on right now, this is the easiest 30 bomb of my life. But like, bro just doesn't want to get on the game. Why is Sicko not in my game chat? Why is bro not online? Where is he? He's still not online. I don't even need to lose supply drops, dude. I got all the loot I could ever want. Like that's some stuff right there. All right, we're gonna play what is known as cringe Fortnite reload tactics. Hear me out. It never fails. We're gonna play as cringe as humanly possible, and we're gonna attempt to win by myself as a solo. Source, trust me. The fish is 1,000. MK is 17,000. Is it? Dude, I just need that AR spammy team out of here. Okay, what's it looking like? 3 teams, 4 players, so 1 duo. I might get stuck having to do the 1v2 and then get third partied by the solo. Chat, it might be wraps. It might be wraps. So what do I do? What do I do? Oh, he's gonna key me. What? What? Excuse me? Big with the $1. Thank you, bro. Dude, I got so much input delay right now. I'm just dead. I'm just dead. Dude, like, I can't edit anything. Nothing's registering. It's like I'm playing on EU. Seriously? Okay. That's nice. All right. Infinite box fights. Oh, we got 800. Let's go, boys. We get that to 1K, bro. Source, trust me. Come on. We get that up. We get that up. More Laura. Is there any good pickaxes you guys want me to wear? Halo, you better cook. There's $1 on the line for this match. Oh gosh. Not a whole dollar, bro. No. There's a lot on the line. Hold on. I gotta lock in. I need a good teammate. Peter Griffin pickaxe? That's a pickaxe? Yo, Sigma with the $2. Thanks so much for the $2. Really appreciate it, man. Remember me? Also, Sigmap. Thank you, dude. Infinite box fights FFA, guys. We just dropped a massive update this morning. 0 delay. Pumps now do 200 damage. We nerfed the gatekeeper. We added more elimination streaks, so now you can go up to 20, and you can drop a nuke if you get 20 elimination streak. It's sick, dude. We also added 2 new custom crosshairs, full box 200 as a crosshair, and a HaloBT custom crosshair, which is pretty lit. And big with the $2. GG, play again, Sigma. Okay. Thank you so much for the 2. I don't know if I like being called no, actually I don't like being called Pookie, never mind. But like I don't know, dude. Sigma might be worse. You should wear the FNCS pickaxe. Oh wait, yeah, I got you, bro. Oh. Hi, hello. What's up, Solo? All right, this guy is wearing a bot skin, so 90% chance bro's a bot. It's over. Why do you never use the icebreaker? Because people complain that I never use icebreaker, and it's funny. Tilted Towers. How old are you? 16. Let's go. I played Infinite Box Fights for 4 hours today. Actually, nah, here they go. Karina, shout out to you. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Tilted? Nah, bro wants to land over here. Sigma with the $2. Thank you, bro. Ooh. Wow, he instantly died. Please, builds, place. Teammate, you're on your own. I wish you the best of luck, dude. I'm not gonna help you whatsoever. You got this. 200? Brain, that's actually kind of a cool name. Why does everyone have all these OG names all of a sudden? Is there like a bug going around? Like, the amount of cool random OG names I've seen recently is kind of insane. $200. Hi. What's up? Oh, no, my teammate's actually pretty good. I think we'll cook a little bit this round. No, that's only 2. I actually have good mats, so. Come here. Is that a panda bear with an Among Us back bling? What? What is bro wearing? My guy, we are in the year 2028. And we're still wearing that. I won't get 1v2, bro. Not by a panda bear. Let's go. Cooking. Nah, take a med kit. Yo, bro is 1 HP right now. Oh, gosh. He's on life support. 200. Oh, come on. Oh, no, that's some baloney, bro. 200. FBI, open up. Oh, it's 2. 39 headshot. Dude, 39 headshot is actually like, come on. It's a green pump, dude. It's green. Not gray. Green. Green. Insane. Yo, Halo, what's up? Nice custom crosshair, Halo. Thank you, guys. Actually, I want to try doing the double custom crosshair today. Can someone teach me how to set that up, please? I want to have it so like when I switch to my shotgun, it's a different custom crosshair, and I'm gonna turn off my normal Fortnite reticle and see how I perform with it. Because I low-key think I'll like that more. Anyone else's Fortnite servers offline? Nah, they're working for me. Although I'm like really painfully laggy today, but that's just a normal day. That's just a normal day on the game at the moment, so it's fine. Let's get this supply drop. Let's see if I can get a spaz. Leviathan next game? If you guys want me to. Let me in, please. I just accidentally pre-fired him with the mammoth, by the way. I want to point that out. That was full accident. There was 0 skill in that. 0. I was trying to shoot the wall to take the wall, and he made an edit, and it just happened to hit him. That was pretty clean, though. It looked intentional, but no, that was an accident. All right. Chillin'. Let's go, gamers. Cooking. We might actually be able to win a reload game. Wow. Insane. When was the last time you played a tournament? Super seriously, it was Chapter 2. I've played like a couple tournaments to do like meme strats and whatever, but yeah, I haven't played comp in a minute, really. Let's take the chugs. Look at the tutorial on it. Nah, it's good. It's good. I'm hoping one of you guys in chat can help me out. I don't feel like watching a tutorial. I'm way too lazy for that. Hi, hello. What's up, August? How we doing today, chat? You guys vibing? So if you owned all of the old battle passes, would it be okay or not okay if everyone was like Renegade Raider or Ragnarok to come back? I don't know. I feel like most people, this is kind of a hot take, but most people that have Renegade Raider right now have bought their accounts. So I don't know how many people would really care if the Renegade Raider came back. Because a lot of people that do have it have either quit the game by now, play only once a new season, never wear it, or they bought their account. So it's like, with those skins in particular, it's such a small amount of people that I feel like if they brought it back and then just gave them the checkered edit style, kids with a Renegade Raider would be happy. Because they still got the OG style, but then they can bring back the OG Renegade Raider, and then Fortnite gets paid a bag. So, I don't know. Really, whatever works. I don't know. I definitely want to get like Sparkle Specialist and Black Knight and all that, because those skins are fire. Vapor with the $2. Thank you, bro. You got the D23 back bling? No, I did the thing for it and I didn't get it. I haven't received it yet. I don't know if they're like really delayed, but yeah, I haven't got it yet. No, teammate, why are you just hopping in there, feeding him kills, bro? Oh, this guy's 0. Dang, and we just kill each other. That's unlucky. Another day, bro. Another day. Nah, that's the type of ping I need, bro. Holy cow. 4981-4426-6816. Dude, we're so close to 1,000 players, guys. We're so close! We gotta hit it, dude. Map code's on screen. How much have you earned? All of it. I have all the earnings, chat. Mr. Grew with the 3 months. Thank you so much, dude. Let's go, bro. Let's go. You get it first day of the new season. Oh, so we gotta wait for the new season to get the Peely back bling. That kind of sucks. 1 through 10, how's chapter 5? I like it. It's a good chapter. Save to crosshairs, then add a keybind for both crosshairs. So when you click that button, it pops up. Hold on, let me try that. So here. Oh, so you make another crosshair, right? Oh, you can have a cursor too. No way. Oh, wait, that's kind of tough. That's kind of tough. Wait, that's sick. Look, this is my cursor on my desktop now. What? Oh, yo, Vapor with the $2. You get it when the new season starts? Yeah, thank you, chat. Thank you. No, I'm gonna restore to default. Okay, wait, so do I gotta design one and then key remap it? I think that's how it works. Halo, important question, Charmander. Can't say that one, or Squirtle. What does Squirtle look like again? I feel like he's the cute one. Squirtle from Pokemon. No, don't Wikipedia page it. I want to see what he looks. Oh, he's cute. I don't know. I feel like, okay, Charmander is better, but Squirtle is arguably the cuter Pokemon. Oh, lovely game audio. It sounded like he was upstairs and I was just watching him run around the hallway. W pre-fire. Give me that pump. Thank you, sir. Why can't you say Bulbasaur? Because I always mispronounce it. And then kids in the chat are like, Halo, you mispronounced it. I'm sorry. I suck at pronouncing stuff. Deal with it. You're watching a HaloBT stream, bro. It's usually how it goes. But yeah, jokes aside, I can't pronounce anything, bro. It's actually... Did you just phase through that? Nah, that's crazy. Why are you grabbing the tag? You're literally dead. What are you gonna do with that? Piece, side piece, repiece. Okay. That's all you, teammate. I wish you the best. Kind of entertaining to watch. Never fear, teammate. I'm here to save the day, bro. Never fear. You gonna put a counter for the new season? Eh. I would, but honestly, I really just don't feel like it. It'll take some time for me to set up. W piece control. Hey, hello, it's my birthday today. Happy birthday! Dude! Hope you have the best one ever today, bro. Scariest game you played? Minecraft. Modded edition. Oh my gosh. I'm taking so much damage right now. Teammate, win that. Nice. Bro cracked with it. Yo, Raise with the $2. Thanks so much for the $2 bro. Just got Unreal. Please respond. Let's go. Congrats, dude. Have you been playing a lot of infinite box fights? It makes you extra cracked, but dude, that's what I'm talking about, Raise. Congrats. Right in time for the new season. Unfortunately, though, we're all going back down to bronze once the new season starts, so. Hey, it's good, though. It's good. I just blank him? Huh? Teammate, come on, hit him once. Hit him once, soccer skin. Nice. Wait, bro's cooking him. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to shockwave you too. Oh. I was unlucky. I wish I had one more shockwave. No, dude. There's a lot of kids here. Might dip here, low key. I'm running on mats. Okay, so he just phases through that. Wow. No, this is a whole nother dude. Oh, come on. I was playing so good, bro. That's annoying. Nice! My teammate got the knock on him. Nah, bro's actually cracked. He cooking. Let's go, dude. We have loot now. We have loot. Take these minis. Potential 20 bomb here. Potentially speaking. No! You can't build there. Oh, I was gonna clip him. Good thing that guy hit me 25 with his legendary tactical shotgun, because that thing is indeed garbage. Why can't I edit? There we go. W-res. Let's go. Oh, 4 chugs. Yo, bet. Where's Sicko? Non-existent, dude. My guy's dipped. Oh, he's just cranking. He's what? Chill! Holy! He's zooming. All right. I need more kills. I am not satisfied with only 8. I need at least 15. Dang! Oh no. Wait, why? Why did it not? I'm being scammed out here, dude. W pre-fire. Alright, chilling. I was trying to pick up the medkits. Pick up that grapple. Let's get out of here. I don't want to play Storm. Is that vending still there? Oh my gosh, it is. Dude, look at all these builds. These kids have been cranking. Yeah, the big pots are definitely out of stock. I want to try to get like a spaz and then definitely feeling a 20. And my wall doesn't place. Come on, dude. Seriously? He has a gold pump and my wall doesn't build. That's sad. Wait, teammate, chill. Oh gosh. Oh, I got him. No. You get the finish? Oh, I think you got the finish. Nice. We just gotta reset the fight, honestly. How? I'm fully boxed! Bro! I'm just getting shot through everything today. It's like I'm not even building. No. I killed the kid with a spaz. No, he's gonna get the res though. There's another team. Oh, he didn't get the res. Hold on. No, he got the spaz. He picked up the spaz and dipped with it. That's annoying. Dude, if I just had a med kit, my life would be so much easier. It's actually insane. And it just doesn't reset? Okay. Sick. I don't think I can make any like bold plays at all today. I literally just gotta stay in a box. And yo, Country with the Prime sub. Thank you so much, Country. Really appreciate that, man. W Prime. W Prime, bro. 191 4426 6816. Dude, look how fast I'm typing that now. That's crazy. Yeah, almost 1,000 players. That's awesome, chat. Keep playing the new update, dude. And let me know, what's your new favorite crosshair on the update, chat? Let me know. Why do most pros not play on controller? I don't know. Ecstatic with the Prime as well. Yo, back to back. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you, dude. Double Prime. Thank you. Let's go, Ecstatic. Chun-Li crosshair. Also wear Tony Stark skin. Oh, the Chun-Li crosshair. I've never worn this skin. We'll rate it 1 through 10. Hi, hello. What's up, Kay? says for me servers are down. No, servers aren't down, guys. They work for me. Everyone's saying Chun-Li crosshair. Yeah, Chun-Li crosshair low-key go crazy. Gotta vouch for that. What? Pause. Yo, chat, Chun-Li or Bunny Penny crosshair on infinite box fights. My map in Fortnite. What is this dude's username? Oh, heck no. Oh, heck no. What is that? What is that? Why? Who names themselves that? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed, bro. I'm just really disappointed. Alright, I would give this skin a 4 out of 10. It's really mid. Like, beyond mid. It's not even like mid, it's like bad mid. Like, no. I look like a wannabe Power Ranger. Yo, Halo. What's up, Dark? These guys fighting in my house? No, move! No, okay. I thought I could hit the little bailout. He had too much health. Oh gosh. Is that an iconic? Dude, I hate this bug where you can't edit. Don't you dare grab the loot. Alright. That was actually valid. What are you marking? Oh, you want to rotate dead side? Bro's had it with the fighting. He's out of here. Sure. These chests have like increased percentage of getting good loot from it. Stream sniper. Hi. 200. 200. Thanks, bro. Add the MK7 to your map. Nah, I think it'd be too annoying. Just being honest. Unless you guys like really want it, we can get it added, but it'd have to be a really low rarity, like a gray or a green one. Because we're trying to make the meta on the map where shotguns are way more powerful than anything else. So that way you're not just sitting there spamming, you know what I mean? When's the new season start? A couple days, guys. I'm hyped, bro. No, dude. Dude, I hit you 160. Why are you keying me? And my walls don't place. Okay. Oh, this is getting annoying. This is getting really annoying. I just want to build, dude. They left my chugs? Oh, gosh. Why is my shotgun in my first slot? Huh? I have preferred item slots. Why is it? Huh? What's the point of the preferred item slots if it's not gonna... Okay, I mean, that's okay. Nice. W kill. We got a greedy in game. I got you. Greedy. Nah, I want my old loot back. These kids are stacked over here. Oh, it just... build my wall, please! All right, all good. Hi, hello. What's up, dude? Servers are down, Halo? Nah, they're working. It's just like, dang, the input delay, bro. This guy's a mythic drum gun. He had a mythic drum gun? Where are you getting that? What? I was like actually rich. I just gotta keep this drum gun all game and I'll be cooking. It's not like that OP, but it's like not particularly bad either. Nah, I'm a dip. Hi. Dude, can I fix this bug where I can like edit my own walls? Like, I would really appreciate it. It'd make me really happy. No! Come on. Nice! How do all these kids have OG names, dude? Nah, that has to be like some sort of exploit right now. Bro, his name is Joe. Like, what? There's no weird characters or anything. It's just Joe. Huh? Yo, Halo. What's up, Amir? How you doing, dude? Alright, cooking. Can you add the infiltrator pump to your map? People wanted me to take it out because it was annoying. We're probably not gonna add it back. $200. Oh, nice. Oh, Chugs, yo! Let's go. These guys are storm fighting. Nice. W33. Nice. You got the kill. Let's go. Yeah, we're kind of cooking, dude. 13 kills. Hi. My teammate just... Bro doesn't care. Is Skull Trooper still alive? Not anymore. GG, bro. Thanks for the loot. Alright, now 15 kills. Yo, 15 out of Pleasant, bro. That's good. I feel like no one ever really lands Pleasant in Reload. I think this is pre-recorded. It's not pre-recorded, guys. I don't know why I gotta say this every time I stream now, but like, I don't pre-record. I've never pre-recorded. I'm here. I'm here. Halo servers are down. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's down for people that are just logging on, but it's working for me. I'm not having any issues. I mean, it's ridiculously laggy, but it's working. Hello, how are you? I'm doing good. How you, not clicks? Just chilling, bro. Actually, nah. I'll just keep this. I want to get spaz again, bro. A gold spaz would be... Oh, gosh. No! Why do they own that? Why are you carrying me back, bro? We're not playing a tournament. I was trying to get max surge damage on me. He's carrying me back through an old metal tarp. Like, what? Oh, my teammate's rich. Bro, got a full gold inventory. Insane. Nice. Thank you, bro. W clutch. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And dropping mats, thank you. I think all my old loot's back here. Yeah, I guess my teammate yoinked my drum gun. That's okay though. Oh my! Alright, just cook him, bro. Cook him. It's almost up. Nice! My teammate is sweating so hard right now. It's actually funny. Bro is locked in for this reload match. He's pretty crazy though. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm feeling a 20 bomb here. Why are servers down, Halo? Chat, I don't know, bro. I don't work for Fortnite. I'm a random 16-year-old kid in his bedroom streaming Fortnite. Like, I don't have any more info than you guys do. Where's bro trying to go? That'd be a great time to have shockwaves. I think he's just hiding. He's waiting for his teammate. $200. Let's go. Mammoth pistol aim looking pretty good today. Alright, nice. We're at 21 right now. I think 2v2? Yeah, 2v2. Chat, we might actually be able to win a reload fill game. I know. About to complete the impossible. Oh! My mom texted me red card! You can't shoot me when my mom's texting. Holy cow. I'm trying to pop medkit again. My teammate's kind of cooking. Oh no. 200. Sick. 2v1 for the win. Yo, Ashton with the 1 gift on the YouTube stream. Thank you so much, bro. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Alright, bro's chilling. I don't want to kill him. I want to pickaxe him. I saw him chokes. I'm just chilling. Let's go! Oh, he moving. He moving. Let's go, dude. 22 kill win. Not bad, chat. Not bad at all. Wait, he wants to stay? He wants to stay! Oh, bet! I'll run it back. Yo, usually no one ever wants to stay. Halo Fortnite tweeted the map. You for real? Don't mess with me. Yo, Ashton with the 5 gifted on the YouTube stream. Thank you so much. If you guys are just tuning in, smash the like button, dude. Smash that subscribe button. If you want to check me out on Twitch, it's HaloBT on Twitch. I read both chats. Please check me out on Twitch. I really appreciate it. We're trying to hit like 300K. You know what I mean? Like, please. Check Twitter. You're trolling me. You're getting timed out for 600 seconds. I want you to know that. Fortnite creative or Fortnite? Fortnite tweeted an only up map. Where'd they tweet it, chat? Fortnite game? Yeah, I'm looking at Fortnite game right now. They tweeted 5 minutes ago, insert superhero landing here. And then they tweeted elevation. It's an only up. What are you guys yapping about? Official Fortnite? Yeah, I'm looking at official Fortnite, bro. You guys are capping. Hypex tweet. All season 3 changes. Oh, look at this, chat. Look at this, bro. Oh! No way! We're getting a prize pool increase? Dude. On Brazil? Oh, wait. Oh, all of them. Wait, what? Oh, I thought BR. Oh, they meant BR. Dude, no way. Is it just EU and NA? Is it all of them? Yo! Does that not look like Misty Meadows, chat? Hold up. In the middle of the woods, you got those 2 buildings right there. Clock Tower. Misty Meadows remake, and then we got the prison back. Like, that's pretty litty, bro. I can't even lie. That's pretty litty. Hi, Halo Pookie. Chat, stop calling me Pookie. Anvil Square? Nah, more Misty Meadow vibes, low-key. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of Anvil in there. I think with the medieval theme, but... Nah, definitely more Misty Meadows. Can you answer me? It's my birthday. Happy birthday, Ashton! Hope you have the best one ever today, dude. Out of the way. Ah! Oh my gosh, a guff with a pump is very scary. Dude, pick up the pump, brother. Oh my gosh. This kid has llama loot and he's just gonna run away. If my pump actually went in my inventory, I would have been there just in time to one pump him, but, you know, all good. I think my teammate actually got him. Nice. Fortnite leaked the official map. Where? I'm using the Chun-Li crosshair on your infinite box fights map. Thank you guys. W. Map code's up there. $200. 200. Alright, let's go. No! My teammate died. What? Bro, I was in a fight. Not bad, bro. We should play together. Alright, chat. I'll look at tweets after this match. Like, please, chill. Holy cow. That was the lesson in peace control right there, bro. Oh, no. Oh, no. He just smacked his head on that cone. I was boxing him up. See, my build's just placed like that all the time. Oh, my gosh. I'd be cooking. Cooking. I love videos. Thank you, Andrew. I'm going to upload way more with the new season, by the way, guys. I apologize for the lack of uploads. It's just been kind of crazy. I just flanked him? Okay. That's kind of weird. Oh, what is that bloom? I'm going to break my monitor. I swear. No, but like on a real note though, how does that not like... That's some cap. C-A-P. Oh my gosh, my team is just getting farmed out of this guy. I'm sorry, bro. These kids are Fortniters. They're Fortnite battle royaling. We went all the way over there? I'm not here, bro. Don't worry about me. You keep tunnel visioning on the other guy and we're good to go, okay? Alright, chilling. Halo, I'm hard stuck bronze. Any tips? Play more than one match of ranked. I got you. Anytime. Are you 16? Yes. I'm still 16, chat. 30 FPS on Switch actually runs pretty smooth. What? No? What kind of Nintendo Switch do you have? Mine's always like super laggy. I'm jealous. This guy really likes those shockwaves. I'm just not gonna bother. That's Mr. Shockwave Merchant. Bro is just gonna run. Nice, bro. Ooh, a gold heavy. Sick. Yeah, I'll take that. Chat, is the heavy any good in reload? Yes or no? I never ever pick it up. I never find any, to be fair, too. Nah, 27 is insane. Yes, don't pick it up. Yes, no. I'll try it. It's gold. It can't be that bad. No. Dude, I don't even know what's going on. There's just literally feet all over my screen, bro. Like, what is going on right now? $200. If I can get this big off, I'll be very happy. Please. Nice. I mean, the heavy's not that bad, chat. It's not that bad. I'm hitting like 80 mainly. Like, it's not particularly let's go, but you know, it's solid. Probably about the same as my green pump that I had. A spaz! I'm gonna riz you up. Nah, you get a kiss for that, bro. Nah, I'm not even gonna cap. That is actually crazy. Bro just gave me a spaz, chat. This is the best team I've ever played with. Let's go. Let's go. We're dropping Sicko Lucky. Let's go. Just kidding. Hi, hello. What's up, dude? How did I grapple the tree? Where do you think you're going, buddy? Dang! This thing hits like a truck. One pumped him 2 boxes away. That's insane. You know, tips on how I can improve my in-game fighting skills and decision making? Dude, Infinite Box Fights FFA, trust me, it made me cracked. I'm playing crazy. It's goated, bro. Check it out. Map code's on screen. It's my pro practice map in Fortnite. I designed the entire map to make everybody as cracked as possible, including myself, so. It's sick. I play it every day and it makes me a lot better. W-Riz! Oh my. Let's go. I love this emote way too much. I gotta stop. I haven't gotten copyrighted for it yet, so I mean we're good for now. There was a wall there, mister. Oh, he just took my wall first try. No. This is weird. This is weird. I don't appreciate this. I'm getting cooked by Mr. AI Timmy 123 right now, and it's not good looks. This might be career ending. Wait, teammate, just hold wall, hold wall, hold wall. Pop him, Medi. Wait, W extra loot? No, give me that. Dogs. Bro just shotgunned me all the way away. I saw that coming. There'll be supply drop. Nice. Chilling. Oh, more supply. Wow. Might try to go for a gold spaz then. Might as well, right? Can you wear your main combo if you guys really want me to? I'm just trying like new combos today. Trying to switch it up, you know? Getting a green item out of a supply drop so sad. I just got a revolver. No, man. Oh, he's killing this. Oh, cook him, cook him, cook him. Nice. Oh, another spaz. Let's go. 2 spazzes, bro. Chilling. Bro, I hit Unreal because of your Infinite Box Fights map. Halo, thank you. Keep it up. Thank you, bro. Increase that fun. Make sure you guys keep playing it every day, though. Every day will make you maximum cracked. And it'll help you warm up before playing tournaments and ranked and all of that every time you play. Bro thought he could run away from me. Bro thought he could escape my aim. Should have known. What's this guy doing? No! I wanted a clip, bro. Where's he going? Oh, he's just cranking. Bro thought he could escape my aim. Oh, I'm getting reported. Nah, that was actually like, that was too clean. Wow. Okay, GG. Nah, but bro really thought he was gonna escape that aim. Nah. Insane. Oh, gold scar. Wow. That's all you want it. Make an endgame map? Yeah, we will. Don't worry. We got a lot of plans for new maps, guys. We're just trying to update Infinite Box Fights even more and make it as good as possible. But yeah, once we're done doing all like the main updates we're trying to get done, then yeah, 100%. No, sus Halo, was it? That aim was sus. Oh, no. I swear, dude, I've just been playing a lot of Infinite Box Fights. Map code's on screen. I swear, it's not what it looks like. Fortnite tweeted the new map. I'll check it out after this game. Might drop a 21 with bro over here. We're kind of cooking. Kinda cooking. Trap with the $1. Thank you, dude. Oh, we got hydrate. I got you, dude. And I'm hydrated. 2 bolt actions. Should I go for a trick shot? This kid's just like sky basing or like camping somewhere. I don't even know. Oh, there he is. Nice. Oh, imagine. No. I would have just lost my mind if I hit that. Mind would have been out the window. Where is he? Oh, he's over there. Let's go! W22 kill win, chat. Let's go, man. Straight cooking out here. Cooking. This guy wants to be teammates again. Dude, let's go, bro. I found the new best Phil teammate in Fortnite Reload. Promotion goes crazy. I know, it's because the best map, bro. It's the best map. So always trust me. Okay, let me poke at Hypex real quick, see what's popping. Fortnite turn thing into Doom. Who is this dude? Possible Marvel teaser. Oh, here we go. Map changes. The raft. So we're losing Pleasant Plaza. Okay. Dang, they're getting rid of it. So we're losing Pleasant Plaza. We're losing Lavish, which is fine because I never land either of these spots. And then we're losing Classy, which Sicko's going to be mad about that. I really don't care that much. So we got 3 new POIs and then like 2 mini POIs over here. Not bad, bro. Not bad. They're chunky POIs. Sick. What's the code to your map, Halo? It's on screen at all times, guys. You can see it at all times. It never goes away. Look. Wow. Look at that. Wow. Right there. You can search up Infinite Box Fights FFA, and it'll be the first one that pops up. We have almost 1,000 players, which is pretty lit. Or you can use the map code 498144266816. Make sure you type it in correctly, otherwise, it will... My teammate backed out! No! We didn't get into a queue and he backed out. No, man. Oh, wait, no, I just put us in the game. Oh, let's go. Okay, chat. I'm feeling triple wins, bro. Triple 20 bombs. Triple 20 bombs with this random kid I found in Phil, who's like actually kind of crazy. Hear me out. Hear me out. Triple 30 bombs. Hear me out. If we get another 20 bomb, I might have to add him. Every time I watch you stream, you look over the chat. I'm like, please see my comment. I got you. Hi. Check Epic Games launcher. There's 2 versions of Fortnite. Yeah, that's normal. That's been a thing for like the past like 3 months, I think. They did that recently. I don't know why. Ew. A charge. Ew. Crazy. Nah, what do you guys actually think about the charge though? Jokes aside. You guys like it? Is it good? Is it bad? I liked it like back in the day, but I don't know. I feel like it's not as good as it once was. Kind of like the tack. You know, like the tack used to be real crazy in Chapter 2. And then like, I feel like nowadays it's just this little like tickle machine, you know? Like, wait, your friend? Oh, hi. How does this guy always get into my game? Thank you, bro. Oh, come on. Are you serious right now? What is Defaulty doing, bro? Oh, gosh. Going. I'm gonna get rid of the charge. I don't want it. I don't want this garbage. Oh no, come on. Nope, not here. 200. Ouch. That's kind of rude. Nah, I'm not even gonna lie. That was a good pre-fire. I hit him like 119 there. It wasn't bad. Nice. Good stuff. Nice. I can never get this med kit popped, but you know what? It's fine. Oh, actually, yeah, there's a heals vent mission. Oh, thank you. Bro bought me a big pot. What a goat. How old are you? 16. Turn on game chat. I want to, but I'm worried he's gonna say like a swear or something. So like, I'm gonna keep it off for now. I need it family friendly at all times, boys. Maximum family friendly. That's my wrist kind of hurt. I think I've been playing too much Fortnite, dude. I'm gonna play map into BOXFIGHTS. Thank you, Fortnite kid. Shout out to you, dude. Map goes on screen. Let me know how you like the new update. Oh, you are one lucky individual. Is the Discord link working now? I hope so. Try it. Discord.gg/haloBT. That was a risky play going for that mini. Hi. Bro's lucky I can't shoot through builds. Thank you. Let's go, chat. We got the W eats now. My mom's just a goat. This is factual. Should I be toxic or not? No, don't be toxic. Thank you, bro. Chat, we feeling back to back 20s with this kid? Hold on. Back to back? Hear me out, hear me out. How did that not hit him? There we go. Please. One more good shot. Nice. W-keying cluster. W-keying cluster, chat. I can see everything, bro. I can see every little pixel on my screen. Try to hit a shockwave. I dare you. I'm gonna play your map. I'm in a BOXFIGHTS. Let's go, King. Let me know how you like the new update, dude. Wait, what? He mantled? I was gonna pickaxe him. How? No, that was lined on him. That's some cap. I was gonna pickaxe him, dude. I should have just killed him. Yeah, now he's just running away with like 10,000 grapplers. Oh, come on. There we go. One more. Sometimes, like, I can't tell if it's blanking or if it's, like, going underneath their armpit or something. But, like, my crosshair will be right on him. You got that, bro? Hi there. I love just staring at people when I hop in their box. They have no idea what's happening. Very funny. Hold on, popping a medkit, popping a medkit. Give me a second. Give me a second. Oh, he's heading up. Or want the smoke. And I went that way. Through the tree, imagine. Nah, I think we just key this. Hi, hello. What's up, Taj? Why are servers offline? I don't know, chat. I've just been streaming all day, dude. I don't know what's going on. Just been playing some reload, you know. There we go. Oh, we got deagles. You can. I was about to say, keying that is crazy. No, he just used that as a rotate. That guy's a decent player. Okay, how does that not hit him? I swear, some of these shots just doesn't make any sense. This guy's alright. Oh no, bro's low. No! No, I take my walls first try, dude. Yeah, I'm pretty much as good as dead here. I gotta hit a bailout. Oh my gosh. Give me your loot! Holy cow, bro. No mats for that entire fight. That was stressful. Oh my gosh, I think my teammate just got clipped. I'm so glad I didn't finish the other guy. I'm so glad I didn't finish the other guy. Now they're out of the game. Let's go! We're gonna get back to back to back 20s, chat. I'm feeling it, dude. 3 20 bombs in a row. Come on, come on, come on. We're cooking. Chat, I don't know why the servers are down, bro. Please chill out with asking me, okay? I don't know, man. I think I just got on before you guys, so now I'm able to play. And you guys, if you're just like trying to log on, you can't. I don't know, bro. I don't understand it. I wish I could help you, but I don't own the Fortnite servers, so I can't do anything. Alright, we're chilling, we're chilling. 190 out of sky. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and boom. Still a good shot, just not what I wanted. That was a headshot. Oh my. Definitely getting better with the Mammoth. That's how much I've been playing Reload recently. You play scrims? They're not hosting scrims anytime soon. I think they're hosting it this evening. I'd have to check with Sicko. How many days do you stream? I stream pretty much every day, guys. Occasionally I do miss a day, but yeah, mostly daily. Don't tell me Courage ate the servers again. I know, man. It's like the third time this week. Oh no, don't full box me. Oh no, don't cone me. Please don't cone me. Please don't bro, are you gonna cone me or not? Cone me. Place a cone. I gave you a chance. Like you just didn't cone me. I was just gonna let you cone me. I was gonna Mongrel Classic him, but I want to spaz, dude. 11 kills and no spaz is kind of criminal. Oh, why my pump not shoot? Oh my gosh, I was just gonna stare at him awkwardly and then shoot him, but it just didn't shoot. I just, yo, almost just died to that kid. No, dude. I'll bet. W chugs. Wow, he just gave me a haircut. Nah, thank you for the fade, bro. Do you live with your parents? Yes, I'm 16, guys. I'm a child. Well, a teenager, but yeah. Let's go! If only that one pumped him. 3 20 kill wins in a row, chat. Oh my. Dude. Are we feeling a fourth one? Oh, we're feeling a fourth one. We're feeling a fourth one. Oh my gosh. I'm literally just farming wins with this random guy in Phil. This is insane. You can play ranked with Sicko today? Bro gets online. I asked him hours ago. Adam, you guys think I should add him? No, but like, what if he's not family friendly though? I don't know. Maybe if we get another one. Maybe if we get another one. I'm just gonna keep farming 20s. I'm having a peanut butter jelly right now. Drop Sicko and Adam, you think? I don't know, chat. His name's kind of sus. I don't know. Check your phone? Okay, Mo. I got you. Hold on. Alright, hold on back. Yo, Lava with the $5. Thank you so much, Lava. Hey, Halo, how do I get on the Infinite BOXFIGHTS leaderboard? Do I have to send screenshot to your Discord or will it do it automatically? It's via Discord. We're gonna do a post about it probably once a month. Chat, my mom wants me to end stream soon, bro. This might be my last match. I don't know. Oh, dude. I'm eating. Ah! Maybe it's Sicko on another account. Nah. Chat, this guy might be better than Sicko. Sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. Yo. No leaks, no leaks. Nah, this guy's actually crazy though. How's he only level 150? That's my question. Or just doesn't play the game at all. 150 is insane. My mom barely plays and she's like level 170, I think. No! Oh, friend, bro, it's a joke, chat. Chill. 200. How do you have that name? Dude, that is not family friend. What is going on with Fortnite usernames recently, bro? Like, kids are just getting away with anything in their name. That should not get past the thingy-majiggy. You know what I mean? The thingy of the thingy. Oh, wait, your friend? Dude, why is my hand sticky? A scar! Thank you! I give you a kiss. W-Riz. Thank you, Nate! Or might be the ghost stream sniper. James, if you're in chat, you got some run for your money here, bro. Where you going? Ah! 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 Let's go! Oh, no, my teammate's dead. No, man. Don't you dare kill my teammate. I'm offended. Wait, my teammate rage quit! Wait! Why do you leave? Chat, why did he leave, bro? Did he get montage clipped? What happened? I didn't see. No, man. We were gonna get another 20 bomb. We were gonna get 4 in a row, man. No. This is sad, dude. This is sad. Now I have to clutch this win on my own. I don't know if I can clutch it. These kids are sweaty today. Adam, I don't know if I should, chat. I don't know. If he's rage quitting and has a not family friendly name, he's probably a cool dude, but like, I would never be able to play because if he's not family friendly, I can't have him on stream, and I really don't play Fortnite unless I'm on stream, so. If I ever see him again. Potentially. Maybe bro changes his name to something family friendly. And he crashed. No, he just died. That's the thing. I think he like just rage quit and got off. He might have gotten like clipped or something. One of those kids I was fighting was pretty decent, so. Oh, wait. Thought I had my scar out. Thank you for the loot, mister. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, I thought that was a spaz for a second. How'd you meet Sicko? You guys know the Coral Buddies? He's one of the Coral Buddies. Man, my wall just doesn't place. Oh, come on, man. I 1v2 these kids. I hear another guy coming in hot, and I literally just build the wall. Just doesn't place. Oh my gosh. 4981 4426 6816. Boom. 200. Oh my gosh, we almost have 1,000 players. Let's go. I just aced a math test while watching a stream of the Go Halo. I got you, dude. I did literally nothing, but I got you, bro. The servers are down in the Epic launcher. Yeah, they should still be down. People have been... No! Got peanut butter on my hand, bro. Oh my gosh. I actually eat like an iPad kid. That's raps. Alright. Doesn't matter. Halo's vibes. Eh. Halo trash talk him? Who? I'll full piece him with my words. Trust. Who you want me trash talking? I'm the best family-friendly trash talker, and I, dude. What's good, Halo? What's up, Musty? Bro's name is Musty. I'm just kidding. You're vibing. What's up? These gummy bears are like... They're like fresh. It's weird. These taste like borderline fresh. I made you a custom crosshair with this link. Crosshair. No, okay. That's not a virus. It was looking kind of sus, but yeah, not a virus. We're good. The ones invite you to use their crosshair. Open crosshair X. Let me full face cam this just in case. It didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work. That's kind of sad. I don't have enough storage for Fortnite. Can you please give me a 1 terabyte external hard drive? Oh no. That's probably the most random thing someone's asked me to buy for them. I've been a streamer for a long time. Oh no. Once I had a kid ask me to buy him a Chun-Li plushie from like Amazon or something. Like, it was like a bobblehead, I think. He described it as. That was probably the most random thing someone's asked me to buy. Do you have W-Riz? I play Fortnite for a living. That's all I gotta say, dude. Edit! Ah, which one? Let's go! Why do family-friendly people wear glasses? Well, I wear glasses. Nick A30 wears glasses. Nick A15 wears glasses. Wait, there's a common trend! Hold on! Wait a darn second here. Chat, if you wear glasses in chat, you have to be family-friendly forever. That's how it works. You have no choice. The family-friendly chose you, dude. The powers chose you. Nah, that's funny. Come here. Fishy! Full piece, side piece, repiece. Just kidding. My cone just doesn't place. Okay, all good. And I just stare at him. Don't you dare go on my wall, Fishy. Don't you dare. I'm giving you guys a warning. Don't you dare shoot me. I'm being nice and I'm not sweating because you guys are fishes and I respect that. But if you make me mad, I'll have to sweat, bro. I don't want to try. I want to be family friendly. TG also wears glasses? That's true! Courage isn't family friendly and has glasses? No, I don't think he wears them all the time, though. Ooh. I think they're like reading glasses or something. Unless he wears contacts. Fishy. Come here. Come here, Fishy. I love fishes. They're cool. Reading glasses at 30 is rough. I'm just trolling, bro. Nah, they're probably gaming glasses. A lot of people does that. A lot of people does that, you know? Like Clicks has gaming glasses, you know? Ah! Why? Fishy! Come on, bro. We're better than this. Don't you dare. I'll be forced to actually kill you. I don't want to kill you. I want to be friends forever. But you leave me no choice. This guy's just panicking right now. It's actually funny. I'm on the hunt. I think I'm just gonna leave him alone. I'm gonna stop terrorizing this poor fish. I'm just gonna let him be. Bro just wants to win a reload game. You buy an extra big pot? Please. I only have 4,000 gold, bro. I have like no gold. Can you buy me one? I'll give you a kiss. They're staring at me, bro. He's like, what are you doing, Halo? Alright. With you. No. No! Well, I gotta pop minis. It's kind of sad. Where are we going? No! Oh my... That was some L crosshair placement. No, that's my fault. Oh my... I didn't think he was just gonna land right on top of me like that. I tried to flick him, but... I ended up just shooting the wall, I think. No, man. No, dude. No chat. Brother. No, it just didn't place my stair. Teammate, please survive. Survive, bro. Survive. Guess who's back again? What's up? Why is your stream delay so long? There's something called stream snipers. I'd love to stream with 0 delay, bro, but these kids just never leave me alone. It just doesn't reset. Okay, like... Bro, I want to so badly be able to edit a wall and reset the wall to bait people's pump shot. I want to be able to do that so badly. You have no idea. You have no idea, bro. I'm just sitting there. Dude, this peanut butter jelly is actually fire. Touch some grass level 400. It's crazy. I don't even play the game, chat. I've barely played this season. I'm not even kidding. I played a lot in the beginning of the season, and then I played a lot at the end of the season, and that's it. If I actually played, I'd probably be like 700 right now. Alright, I'm gonna wash my hands. I'll be back in like 10 seconds. I got peanut butter all over my hands, so I'll be right back. 10 seconds, guys. Make sure to play in Vbucks. I can't turn off my headset because I got too much peanut butter on my hands. Hold on. This is a skill-based issue. Alright. 10 seconds, I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Let's go. W 10 seconds. Alright, chat. I got like 1 or 2 matches left. My mom texted me a little bit ago saying I gotta end stream soon, so I got like 1, maybe 2 matches. But it's okay, because infinite box fights you can play all day, every day, and it's the best map ever. It's the first one that pops up when you search it. It's lit. It's lit. Infinite box fights. FFA, chat. Have you guys played the new update we dropped on it today? We added a couple new crosshairs, 0 delay update, add some new guns. We added a super elimination streak. So now if you make it to 11 kills, you unlock the elimination streak, and then you can go past 11 and drop a nuke for free if you get enough. And you also get like 200 gold, which is insane. So kind of lit. Check out the update. Map go on screen. You spent a year coming back, bro. You just got TikTok brain. What do you mean spend a year? Tilted Towers. Let's go. How's your Fortnite working? I don't know, chat. I got on hours ago. That's probably why. I might be dead. I might be dead. Pre-dead. Pre-dead. Pre-GG's. Pre-GG's. I need that. Ah! Let's go. 2 grapples. What the? Oh, the same chest? Oh, no. Yeah, I'm out. See you later, alligator. No! Oh, this is weird. Oh, this is weird. Chasing me down is actually like, what? Brother, your teammate is in a fight. Your teammate is gonna die. Why are reload players so clueless? Like, what? Worst drop in Fortnite history. I'm reading chat. Okay, boys, it's either... Okay. It's either you guys complain that I'm not reading enough chat messages because I'm focused on the game, or you complain that my gameplay is bad because I'm reading too many chat messages. What do you guys want? I either can A, read most chat messages and the gameplay's mid, or B, get really good gameplay, but I read 1 chat message every blue moon. You guys can decide, but like, you gotta pick. A skill issue. All right, hold on. Skill issue. I'm kidding. Hold on. Let me untime out you. 1 second. Untime out. There you go. Welcome back. W reader. Thanks, bro. You should start a Minecraft hardcore series on the HaloBT Games channel. Oh, I'm planning on it, bro. I'm planning on it. Is this the kid I awkwardly stared at the other match? Huh. Huh. What's going on here? What's going on here? All right, Tilt Towers. Wait, it is it? I'm just getting in the matches with like the same 5 kids over and over again. It's so weird. Oh, llama. A llama. Is it just me or llama's like borderline not even worth picking up anymore? Like they're actually just mid now, bro. Like what happened to 999 of every mat plus chug cannon? Oh, that's just unlucky. That's just unlucky. Oh man. Oh man, my teammate instantly dies. Ah, okay. That's sad. Sad times. I did clutch though. Hey, I'll take what I can get. All right, hold on. I need to quickly buy Vbucks because there's stuff in I'm shop. Mama, I need your credit card. I'm kidding. What's my CVV again? $96 plus tax? Brother. Only the taxes are that high now. What the skibbity? Okay, I got 14k V-Bucks now. It is time to have a fun day. Here we go. I'm gonna have to buy so many V-Bucks next season, man. Holy cow. I'm gonna have to buy so many. Like, I can just feel my credit card dying. That's low-key a funny emote. That's low-key a funny emote. I gotta buy that. I really buy like normal emotes. Okay, so I own all these guys. Own all these guys. Own these guys. Boom. Own this dude. Own this dude. This dude. This dude. This dude. Boom, boom, boom. Not buying that garbage. Got these guys. Got these guys. Got these guys. Boom. 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 Not buying this garbage. X-Men bundle. Billy. Defaults. Oh, sick. We own the whole shop. Nice. Anything of like actual value anyway. Let's go. All right, so what are we up to now? We are up to 1,806. Let's go. Dude, I'm going to hit 2,000 skins next year, bro. I'm going to hit 2,000. Next season, I'm pretty confident they're going to release enough skins, especially with Marvel stuff, that I'll be able to hit 2K. Do you have a moving streak, Halo? No. You didn't use your code? Did I not? No! Dude, that's like the saddest thing ever. What? Oh, that's more sad than getting one pumped by an AI in bronze 2. That's actually unlucky. All right, chat. I would love to keep streaming. I'm so sorry. This is like the world's shortest stream by yours truly. But yeah, my mom said I gotta end stream soon. Like 20 minutes ago. So that's pretty much now. But yo, everybody hop on Infinite Box Fights FFA, okay? This is the map code. It's on screen. Oh, no, it's not. Never mind. This is on screen. Everyone hop on Infinite Box Fights. Let's get this up to 1,000, boys. We just released a big old update this morning, adding new custom crosshairs, a super elimination streak. You can now drop a nuke if you get 20 eliminations. We fixed the free build arena, added a bunch of zero delay, added some new weapons like the legendary heavy shotgun. We added the twin mag SMG, which you guys have been requesting for quite a while. We nerfed the gatekeeper, so now the gatekeeper is super weak. It's pretty lit. So W update, check it out, guys. You can use a Chun-Li crosshair and even a HaloBT crosshair, part of the new update. Check it out. Map code's on screen. But yeah, I apologize about the short stream. I'll be live again tomorrow, guys, for a lot longer because I think tomorrow's the last day of season 3. So I'll be live for quite a while. Why is your mom making you end the stream early? I can't say. It's like IRL stuff. But yeah, I'll be live again tomorrow, guys. Don't worry. We'll do a long stream tomorrow. It's just kind of unfortunate. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so very much. Don't forget to like, subscribe down below if you're on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, follow button. If you want to check me out on Twitch, HaloBT. Join my Discord server, HaloBT on Discord. And play Infinite Box Fights. New update is lit. All right, love you guys. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a good day, dude. See you guys tomorrow.